In this report, I explained how Tom ruined his retirement in paradise overseas. If you know what Tom did wrong, you may be able to avoid his mistakes. I've been trying to figure out how to talk about Tom for a few months. I wanted to get it right. How to talk about Tom came to me when I received a question from someone named Frank. Frank's question helped me figure out how to talk about Tom. So I'll talk about Frank first so you will better understand what Tom did wrong. Frank asked if I knew of a perfect place in the world to retire in paradise overseas that satisfied his 4 requirements. Frank said he needed 4 things for his perfect retirement. I will share Frank's exact question, including his 4 requirements, and I will tell you the exact words I used in my answer. But more importantly, after reading Frank's question and typing my answer, I realized I needed to share how both Frank and Tom, or anyone else, could find their own unique paradise overseas. You see, paradise should consider your unique personal needs. The method I used to answer Frank's question, based on his 4 personal requirements, would work for anyone. My answer and the method I use remind me of an old Chinese proverb that you and I have known about for decades. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. After sharing Frank's question and my answer, I'll talk about the method. This method needs to be performed by you personally. You are in the best position to do this right, not me or anyone else. In fact, Tom ruined his retirement in paradise because he ate fish caught by others instead of learning how to fish. But I'll talk about Frank first. Someone is listening to me for the first time right now, and they need to know I left the United States 17 years ago and have never moved back. I've lived in 72 countries so far, so this is not my first rodeo. The method I use is more important than the answer I gave Frank because your exact requirements will not be identical to Frank's. If you use the method yourself, you're much more likely to enjoy your own personal paradise because you will catch it yourself. Okay, it's time to share Frank's question, but remember, don't pay any attention at all to what Frank's requirements are for his personal paradise. You have a different list of requirements for paradise, even if you don't know them all yet. Some of your requirements will be the opposite of Frank's. Just pay attention to the method and then use it on your own requirements. Okay, here is the question Frank left in one of the comments below one of my YouTube videos. Frank wrote, "Can you name a place anywhere in the Philippines that does not have skyscrapers, nightlife, expat drama, or significant tourism?" You see, after I typed my answer to this question, I realized that my answer applied to every single one of you. I'll break it down for you and explain why my answer applies to you personally, no matter what you are looking for in the world, whether beaches or mountains, whether you're looking for love or already have a partner, whether you're an action sports lover or you want to spend most days relaxing in a hammock under a palm tree, whether you're looking for expat community to establish new friendships, or you want to be the only expat in a remote community, or you want to live in a place so remote that your nearest neighbor is 10 miles away. Whether you like bustling large cities, small town jungles, a surfer's paradise, or anything else, the method will work if your paradise place exists anywhere in the world on your proposed budget. Now I'll give you my answer to Frank's question, and I'll explain how I got to it. My answer: there are 7,000 islands in the Philippines. 90% of them have a place like that somewhere on the island. Just throw a dart at a map of the Philippines and go. Then drive around the island on a scooter until you see your own personal heaven. You probably think I'm kidding. That's my answer. Why is that my answer? Frank will likely be happy in the provinces where there are no tourists, no skyscrapers, no expats, and no real nightlife. And 90% of the Philippines are provinces, so he is in great luck. I will talk about the method I used for Frank in a moment, but first I want to share the method Tom used to ruin his retirement. Tom's using the same method that most people use. But first, I should say that Tom is really a few different people all rolled into one, so I can talk about them without disclosing their real names. I don't want to expose anyone to public ridicule, so I squished a few stories together and called them Tom. Tom was not old enough to retire, and he wasn't willing to wait any longer. He had watched YouTube and learned how much cheaper it was overseas. He saw a few different YouTubers that were living a dream life. They had found love with beautiful locals, and they were living simple lives that he would rather live than keep working. So he quit his job and moved overseas to the same town that many of the YouTubers lived, figuring if they can do it, so can he. Everything went well for a while. He found an apartment, he had a new love, and he made some new friends. But after a few years, he started to get bored. He had tried all of the restaurants in town and was getting bored of the choices. He had a few hobbies back home that he loved doing with friends, but nobody seemed interested in those hobbies in this new town, and he couldn't easily find all the materials he needed to do that hobby. So after about 2 years, he started to think about other places where it might be more fun for him to move. He wondered if there was a place that had more people interested in his hobbies and more of the nearby amenities that he would need to enjoy life on a day-to-day basis. Luckily, Tom only ruined his retirement in paradise temporarily. What did Tom do wrong? Tom imagined himself living the life of the YouTubers instead of imagining his own personal paradise. On the surface, the tubers' lives seemed like heaven. But once Tom was living their dreams, he realized that he needed other things in his life that were not sufficiently present. But after a few years, it became abundantly clear, and he needed other things. The moral of the story is that it's not enough to just imagine yourself living in someone else's dreams. You have to personalize the dreams so they are your personal dreams. It's okay to use a tuber's life to get ideas about how your life could change living overseas, but you also need to personalize the search so it includes things that you love that those tubers could care less about. Okay, so here is the short version of my method to make this more clear to you. Imagine your dream life. Take the time to imagine your wildest dreams about what your personal retirement paradise and life look like, and put all of your personal requirements on a list to remind you. Imagine many different dream days that include your present life and your new life. Imagine the colors and smells, textures, everything. Make real days in your mind. Look at what's around you in those dream days. Details are key. Hobbies, sports, activities, entertainment, terrain, food, safety, healthcare, living conditions, friendships, nature, intellectual needs, physical needs, etc. Make lists of those conditions, services, and materials. Okay, research where those dreams live. Do those dreams live in big cities, rural areas, or remote locations? Where do they live? Do those dreams exist in cooler regions, warmer regions, hot regions, beaches, mountains, snow? Watch YouTube videos to look for places those dreams exist. Google search where those dreams live, such as materials, environments, conditions, products, services, shipping, if not present, and costs. Exploratory visits. Visit the parts of the world where those dreams exist. See how it feels to live there. Visit multiple places nearby and around to see which is your favorite in those places where those dreams exist. Buffet visits. Visit many places like you would sample food in a buffet restaurant. Taste many different places quickly to eliminate feelings and places that don't feel and taste right to you. Of those tasted, pick your favorite 2 or 3 places. Extended verification. Go back and spend a few months in each of your favorite places you picked on the buffet visits. Pig out on your favorite few places and decide which one is your favorite. The one that allows more of your imagined dream days, not a tuber's dreams, but your dream days. Luckily, Tom can head out for some buffet visits. Before you know it, he'll have a few places that he loves more than his present location. Then he can pig out on his extended visit and decide which ones are his very favorite. So, how did I apply my method to Frank's question? I've already completed my exploratory visits to the Philippines, heck, all over the world. I knew there were not skyscrapers in the provinces. I also knew that there were very few expats and very few tourists in the provinces. But what I didn't know is what province would feel right to Frank. Once his feet are on the ground, feeling is something we can't really know for other people. That's why I told him to rent a scooter and drive around until he found a province that felt right to him. And feeling is the most important thing. A place that doesn't feel right will not be your paradise, even if it has everything you need to live your best dream days. And that is why you're the best person in the world to follow this method to find your dream paradise overseas, because it's your feelings that count. Now this is the short version of my method. If you're curious about my Retire Overseas course that includes the longer, detailed version of my methods, watch the video in the upper right-hand corner of your screen right now. That video is the syllabus for my Retire Overseas course.